Good day, everyone, and welcome to our digital talk show on heroic epics as cultural expressions. I am Ira Amador, and I will be guiding you through today's program. And before we dive into our discussion, let us take a moment to think about what makes an epic so special. Epics are not ordinary stories. They are long, powerful narratives passed down from one generation to the next, often through oral tradition. They were performed during rituals, celebrations, or important gatherings, not only to entertain but also to preserve the history, values, and identity of community. These stories carried lessons about bravery, loyalty, sacrifice, and the struggle between good and evil. In many ways, epics serve as the textbooks and mirrors of ancient societies, teaching people about their past while shaping their ideals for the future. Today, we're focusing on two remarkable works from different corners of the world. The first is BSED ni Lamang, or The Life of Lamang, a Philippine epic from the Ilocano people of Northern Luzon. It tells the story of Lamang, a hero whose life is marked by miracles, battles, and quest for love and honor. The second is the Iliad, one of the most or oldest works of Greek literature, attributed to the poet Homer. Set during the Trojan War, it explores the rage of Achilles, the devastating consequences of pride, faith, and conflict. At first glance, these two epics might seem worlds apart. One comes from the oral traditions of Filipino villages, and the other from the ancient Mediterranean. Yet, when we place them side by side, we discover that they share a common purpose: to express cultural identity, to embody values through larger-than-life heroes, and to remind us of what it means to be human. In our talk show today, we will be asking 10 key questions that will help us understand these epics more deeply. Our guests will guide us through the background of the stories, the quality of their heroes, the cultural values they highlight, and the challenges they symbolize, and even the lessons we can still learn from them today. We will also compare how Lamang and Achilles, though shaped by different societies, reflect universal themes of heroism and humanity. So with that, let us begin our journey into the worlds of BSED ni Lamang and the Iliad and see how these epics, though ancient, continue to speak to us in the modern world. Let me first introduce the wonderful guests that will answer our questions about these epics. We have Miss Ellen May Buhat, Miss Christina Almazar, and Mr. Kyle Daryl Balderas. So let's begin first with Miss Ellen May Buhat. Miss Ellen, what is the background of the epic that we are discussing today?
So the BSED ni Lamang, or The Life of Lamang, is an Ilocano epic believed to have originated long before the Spanish colonization. It was passed down orally by storytellers, or also called as mambabalagtas, and later recorded in written form during the 17th century. Its story combines elements of the supernatural, everyday life, and cultural practices, making it both entertaining and educational for its audience. In contrast, the Iliad is one of the oldest surviving works of Western literature, attributed to Homer and composed during the 8th century or BCE. It is set during the Trojan War and focuses on a specific episode, the rage of Achilles, while also reflecting centuries of Greek oral storytelling. Together, these two epics reveal how different societies preserve their worldviews. One through indigenous chants in village gatherings, and other is through bardic recitations in ancient Greece.
Thank you for that insight, Miss Ellen. Let us now proceed to the second question that will be answered by Mr. Kyle Daryl Balderas. So for our second question, Kyle, who are the central characters and what qualities make them heroic?
Lamang, the Ilocano hero, is extraordinary from birth. He speaks immediately, shows wisdom beyond his years, and grows into a warrior who avenges his father and wins the hand of Ines Canoyan. His heroism is not only physical but also moral. He fights for justice, protects his family, and remains determined despite setbacks. Achilles, the central hero of the Iliad, is renowned for his unmatched strength and skill in battle. He is fearless, almost invincible, and deeply loyal to his comrades, especially Patroclus. Yet Achilles also struggles with pride and anger, making him both admirable and flawed. In both cases, these heroes stand out because they embody their culture's ideals. Lamang represents loyalty and resilience, while Achilles embodies strength and the pursuit of honor.
Thank you, Mr. Balderas. Those qualities really show how each culture defines what it means to be a hero. And for our next question, which will be answered by Ms. Christina Almazar, what cultural values and beliefs are reflected in the epics?
In Biyag ni Lamang, Ilocano culture is vividly portrayed. We see the importance of kinship, as Lamang's quest to avenge his father reflects the duty of children to uphold the family honor. Courtship and marriage are also central, highlighting the value of perseverance and commitment in relationships. The presence of supernatural elements like Lamang's extraordinary abilities and his magical pets mirrors the indigenous belief in a world where the human and the spiritual are interconnected. On the other hand, the Iliad reflects Greek values such as the pursuit of honor, bravery in battle, and loyalty to comrades. The Greeks also believed strongly in fate and the will of the gods, which constantly shaped the lives of mortals in the story. Both epics serve as a cultural blueprints. One celebrates community and family ties, while the other underscores individual honor and divine human relationships.
Wow, I like how you highlighted the values, family for the Ilocanos and honor for the Greeks. Such a strong contrast. And for our next question, may we call on Mr. Daryl Balderas again to answer this. So, how does this epic compare with another?
When we compare Biyag ni Lamang with the Iliad, we find both similarities and differences. Both epics feature extraordinary heroes who embody the values of their societies and undergo great trials to prove themselves. However, Lamang's adventures emphasize loyalty to family and the importance of community, reflecting the communal nature of Filipino culture. Achilles' journey, in contrast, focuses on personal pride, rage, and the pursuit of eternal glory, reflecting the Greek emphasis on individuality and fame, while Lamang's story teaches resilience in love and social duty. Achilles' story warns of the destructive power of unchecked anger. The comparison shows how different societies shape their heroes according to what matters most to them, yet both still highlight the universal human desire for meaning and greatness.
That's a good comparison. It shows the heroism is universal but expressed differently. And for our next question, our fifth question will be answered by Miss Ellen May Buhat. So for this question, what challenges do the heroes face and what do they symbolize?
Ang faces challenges such as avenging his father's death, battling powerful enemies, and proving his worth and love. These struggles symbolize the real-life difficulties of Ilocano communities such as defending family, maintaining honor, and enduring hardships in daily life. Achilles, on the other hand, faces both external battles and internal struggles. His greatest challenge is managing his own anger and pride, especially after losing his close friend, Patroclus. This symbolizes the Greek concern with human emotions, mortality, and the limits of even the strongest warriors. Together, Lamang and Achilles remind us that heroism is tested not only in physical battles but also in emotional and moral ones, and that these struggles reflect the cultural realities of their people.
Very insightful. Those struggles definitely reflect more than just personal battles. And we're going to our next question that will be answered by Miss Christina Almasar. So, Miss Almasar, for our sixth question, how does the epic function as a cultural expression?
Biag ni Lamang functions as a cultural expression by preserving Ilocano traditions, values, and worldview. It reflects indigenous customs and marriage, social obligations, and spiritual beliefs, while also encoding knowledge about family, kinship, and survival. The story was not just entertainment but also a teaching tool, reminding the Ilocano people of their identity and way of life. Similarly, the Iliad is a cultural expression of the Greeks, reflecting their warrior ethos, their reverence for the gods, and their awareness of faith. The epic helped unify Greek culture by providing shared myths and values that could be passed down through generations. Both works show that epics are more than just stories. They are cultural documents that keep traditions and identities alive.
Exactly. Epics really do work like cultural mirrors of their society. Next up, our seventh question. What can modern audiences learn from the epic?
Modern audiences can learn resilience, loyalty, and the value of perseverance from Lamang, who never gives up even in the face of great danger or personal setbacks. His story reminds us that courage often comes from our devotion to family and the community. From Achilles, modern readers can learn about the dangers of excessive pride and anger, but also the importance of compassion and reconciliation. His script for Patroclus and eventual reconciliation with Priam show that even the strongest warriors must face human vulnerability. Together, these lessons teach us that while societies change, the core struggles of human life, loyalty, pride, grief, and resilience remains the same.
Thank you for answering, Mr. Balderas. And you're right, those are lessons we can still definitely apply in our lives today. And as for our eighth question, may I hear from Ms. Christina Almasar. How do epic heroes relate to contemporary heroes in society?
Lamang can be compared to everyday heroes in our communities, parents, teachers, workers, and leaders who sacrifice and persevere for their families and people. He shows us that heroism is not only about grand battles but also about resilience and loyalty in ordinary life. Achilles, meanwhile, mirrors modern athletes, soldiers, or public figures who seek honor and recognition, but who also wrestle with personal flaws and emotions. Both epics remind us that true heroism is not perfection but the ability to face struggle and inspire others through courage and sacrifice. So, in this way, epic heroes live on through the people we admire today.
Wow, I like the comparison. It really makes the heroes feel relevant even now. And as our 9 questions that will be answered by Mr. Balderas, why are heroic epics still relevant in education and culture today?
Heroic epics remain relevant because they connect us to the values, histories, and traditions of the past while also providing timeless lessons for the present. Biag ni Lamang allows Filipinos to appreciate indigenous heritage and see how cultural identity was preserved through oral storytelling. The Iliad continues to shape world literature, philosophy, and even modern discussions of war, leadership, and ethics. In education, these epics encourage critical thinking, cultural awareness, and moral reflection. In culture, they inspire new adaptations in films, novels, and other media, proving that these stories still resonate deeply with audiences today. They endure because they address universal human concerns.
Great point. Epics aren't just old stories, they're tools for learning and reflection. And of course, for our 10th question, which is what are their takeaways in this lesson or this session? This will be answered by Miss Ellen May Buhat.
So for our key takeaway is that heroic epics, whether from the Philippines or Greece, are more than tales of adventure. They are cultural archives that preserve identity, values, and wisdom across generations. By comparing Lamang and Achilles, we see that although cultures are different, they share universal struggles such as loyalty, courage, mortality, and the desire for meaning. Ethics injury because they speak to our deepest concern as human beings. They remind us of where we came from, inspire us to reflect on our present, and challenge us to think about the kind of heroes we need in our future.
That is a powerful takeaway, Miss Buhat. It captures why we're still talking about this epic today. And once again, thank you for our very insightful guests for answering those questions. And as we reach at the end of our discussion, let us pause and reflect on what these epics truly mean for us today. When we look at Biag ni Lamang, we see the values of the Ilocano people woven in a story that has been retold for centuries: loyalty to family, courage in defining, keen perseverance in love and respect for community. It is more than just the tale of a supernatural hero. It is a cultural map showing us how the Ilocanos viewed life, relationships, and the spiritual world. On the other hand, the Iliad opens a window into the Greek imagination. It is not only a war story, but also a meditation on pride, rage, loss, and the human struggle against fate. Through Achilles, we see the cost of unchecked anger and the pain of mortality, but also the possibility of compassion and reconciliation. The Greeks used this epic to remind themselves that even the greatest warrior is still human, bound by limits and shaped by choices. For modern audiences, this lesson remains timeless. Today's heroes may no longer fight with swords and shields, but they continue to embody the same values: resilience, loyalty, courage, and even the struggle with flaws and failures. We see them in parents who sacrifice for their children, in frontliners who serve communities, and the leaders who stand up for justice, and even in ordinary people who face challenges with quiet bravery. And that is the enduring gift of epics. They remind us that while time change, the human quest for greatness and identity never ends. To wrap up today, we have seen that Biag ni Lamang and the Iliad are not just old stories. They are cultural treasures that preserve identity, transmit values, and inspire generations. Thank you for joining us in today's talk show. And remember, heroic epics still matter. Once again, this has been Ira Amador, and see you to our next session.